Alright, how's it going, guys? And I'm going to be showing you here the Nikon D5100. It's an older model from Nikon themselves. Let me get the shotgun mic out of it. But here it is. Now, in most cases, the 5100 would come with this kit lens. This lens right here is the lens that the camera would come with. It's a shabby lens. It doesn't have ED, and whenever you look on eBay, if it says ED on a lens, sometimes they're lying and they don't know what ED lens is. I believe some of them do come with it, but let's not get into that topic. Either way, this is a lens it comes with, a very, very beginner entry-level lens with its VR and its auto manual focus and the DX lens, and it feels cheap, and it's just not a lens for everyone. And obviously many of you will start off with that lens. But I'm going to say here today, you go ahead and try to upgrade to at least a used 18-70. A really good starter lens. It's like a Swiss knife lens of its time. And so here we go. So the beginning is that the 5100 happens to have this feature. Not a lot of professional cameras that have this. I don't know why they don't have this, but either way, let's go ahead and I'll continue on. So the first thing we talk about here is the flip out screen. I don't want to scrape the screen as it flips out. It flips out. It's one of the coolest features these cameras have. I'm using it myself right now to monitor how the video looks like on the screen, just in case I have the autofocus, which I probably will. And the first thing that I'm going to talk about is the articulating screen. One of the coolest features about it is you can go ahead and use it for, vlogging if you have a light enough lens. 1855 is a good starter. And you can also go ahead and have it in downwards positions for when you're having it on a camera crane or on a monopod, which in this case you shouldn't be having a camera crane situation like that. You should have hooked up to external monitor. Either way, this is a pretty simple entry level, not simple, but I should say it's mid-range entry level for beginners. And I'm going to start the camera here. Card's full. I'm going to format it. Always back up your cards before you format. And the first thing I'm going to talk about here is this a camera that I should get. A lot of people ask me this. A lot of people ask, hey, should I get that camera? Hey, should I get that camera? And the first thing I should say, what are you going to use it for? Because a lot of people ask me, should I get it? And I go, what are you going to use it for? YouTube videos. And then I say, go for it. Always get a good lens. Simple as that. Some people diss this camera. I don't know why. Some people say, oh, it's garbage, it's a crop sensor, why should I even get it? It's baloney, it's a hunk of whatever word list they come up with this thing. But I like this camera for its part. The cool feature about these cameras is the hacked firmware. Cool thing about it is firmware. You can go ahead and put hacked firmware. There's some videos, I'll put a link in below. It shows you put hacked firmware. Right there is an LED. Warning LED. I covered it up because it just pops up and I forgot how to disable it. So continuing on with this camera here, we have an SD card reader, standard one slot. I always use Class 10, and you guys can't even read it. Class 10 SanDisk, Ultra Plus, or Pixter. I don't see the difference between either of them. Just rebranding. And a cool thing is that when you use a Class 10 SD card like that, hack firmware and load it all up, you get yourself some pretty nice results. Now the first cool thing about this camera is that you can go ahead and you have all these features. You have manual, you have aperture, you have shutter, and you have program. I believe that's correct. Then we also have auto. We have no auto allows you to just have the camera run, do everything for you, and then have with flash. And this is for no flash, same feature just with no flash. And we have scene. You can use different scenes, and then here are the scenes that are on here already. We got portrait, we have landscape, we have baby, we have running, then we have macro, then we have effects. And then we also happen to have all the settings that I'm mostly on, which are just these. Any other settings I do not use, and I stay away from them because I am not the amateur. Then we got live view switch here, which is very convenient. A lot of them have them below, right here. A weird, strange location for the live switch. And we got the info for looking at information, and then sometimes we leave the screen info as well. And then we also got the exposure, and then we got aperture. If you hold it down, you use the ring, you can control the aperture, and you have the record button casually right there. A lot of them have them down here as well. It's kind of strange. Newer models like the D7000 happen to have the record and the live view on here, and it's not very good of a location. I prefer having it up here. I'm able to hit it quick and easy, and it's a pretty big button. We have menu button, and then we have toggling for the live view settings. All right, the next one we're going to talk about here is the toggle for exposure, shutter speed, and what else should I say? Ah, yes, aperture. Now, cool thing is, let me go ahead and see. I'm going to flip this thing in. Now here we got the camera. It has an auto exposure error, but that's not much of a biggie. It's just part of the camera's issue. It got dropped, and it was a long story short. It fell, and it got damages, but it still works all fine on manual. But if you get a camera off of eBay, really cheap, it says auto exposure error. It's a good deal. The only setting you have control of is manual, and that's pretty much it. Now you have the nice settings that a lot of DSLRs would have. Especially in the entry-level range, and someone's talking while driving and on their phone, and that's how you get into accidents. All right, so here we are at the screen, and at the screen we happen to have fine quality. We can change the image quality. We have white balance on auto, and we can set up the ISOs. We can set the shutter speed. What the shutter button can do. We can have continuous, single, self-timer on a remote, delayed remote, or on a quick remote or silent shutter. Here's single. Let me go ahead and set to. Do single, one photo, and then we can also see one of the issues we're having here now is that the lens cap is on. Take that off. It's too bright. We can go ahead and adjust it right to the middle, which is the nice spot. We got one photo, two are exposed. Drop it a bit, and now we're getting better results. Now continue on from that, we're going to go back into the settings here, and we can up the ISO all the way up to the max is 6400, and also the lowest is 100 and high 3, and then all those other ones which I don't really touch. Lowest is 100. So I always keep it on. I'm going to put it on 200 for today. Better. So I'll continue on here. We have single mode, and we got continuous. And then we also happen to have self-timer, and then we got delayed mode, and then we got silent shutter. A bit quieter. Anyways, continue on. I'm going to put it on continuous because that's where we keep it on. And then we have set to manual focus, and we have metering, and we have all that active D-lighting, bracketing, set picture mode, exposure, flash compensation. Those are all the other nice settings. Continuing on, we got all the menus and all that fun jazz. We have HDMI. We could set the video quality. I'll show you the firmware version we're using during the time of this video. It's never going to probably even update again unless someone releases a new update of the hacked version of the firmware, which right now they're supporting this camera completely. That's why I've gone with this camera to get it hacked. Now I'm having some audio, so audio issues, so my mic sounds kind of weird. I'm sorry. We also got time lapse, which I'm not going to. Here's movie settings. Here we can go up to the highest, which is 1920 by 1080 and by 30 FPS, high quality. Then we got 1920 by 1080, 30 FPS, and then we also got same thing 24, and then we got 1920 by 1080, 30 FPS normal. We got 1920 by 1080, 24 FPS high quality. We got 1920 by 1080, 24 FPS normal, and we got 1280, 720p, 30 FPS high quality. And the same goes on. And then we got 640 by 30p high quality. Now got 640 by, then resolution is just garbage, and you don't use those. So 1920 by 1080 quality. And we also got microphone settings. We can set to low, medium, high, microphone off. We can have an auto sensitivity, which I'm gonna have it for this camera because we just use the shotgun mic that's gonna be on the side. And then we also happen to have the nice other features of correcting your photos, or you got the custom shooting settings, or you can also set specific buttons to go do specific things. And that's pretty much it for this camera. They got via HDMI, and the HDMI is really good on this camera. And that's the recent settings, and they got playback, and that's all other cool jazz, so I'm not going to go too much into that. Either way, I like this camera. This camera isn't, I've seen the D3200, I've seen the D300, and to be honest here, those cameras they disgust me. They lack the features that this camera has. So this thing does have mic input, So on the side here we have the cool options of GPS, which is can also be used for GPS, for your photos and finding locations where you took them. Or you can also hook up a shutter connector that goes to a remote shutter, or it could also go to a Wi-Fi, or it could also go to a battery grip that has a shutter button on the bottom, since this thing has a capability for a battery grip. They never designed one for it. And we have the mic input, which I use a lot for shotgun mics. To there, and then I go ahead and just twist these up, and I put it down like that. And you also have a display to via HDMI, which is really high quality. I believe it's better than Canon's HDMIs. They're more compressed, but this one goes full out. And with the high firmware, you can have have a clean live view, and you can do really crisp and nice video quality. And that's what I heard about the high firmware has been doing for these cameras. And trust me, once you go high firmware, you can't go back. And I haven't been able to. Both told me this and that, haven't got that confirmed, so I'd rather not say anything. And we have the flash button, which I'm not going to even do because it'll just hit the hot shoe, the shotgun mic connection. And then we got the function, which you can set to anything else. You can set to timed photos, which I just leave it on that just in case I do a family photo and I want to be in it. And then we got the front IR, we got the signal for the remote for if you're using a wireless one, you can set it up to that. And you also have the back one here, which will allow you to do the same thing as well. So overall, I'm going to say here it takes nice batteries. Right here we got a standardized battery, a simple lithium-ion battery pack. And then if you want to hook up a special battery connector, I'm going to go ahead and hook up a special battery where the wire comes out. You can hook up via AC. Go ahead and hook up that DC, AC, forgot what it takes, whatever. Go ahead and set that all down right now. So what I have to say about this camera is really nice. It's an entry level. If a beginner wants to get into DSLR, this is the camera to go for. This is the camera to go for beginning entry level DSLR shooters, or for beginning YouTubers or doing vlogs or videos. This is the camera to go for, and this is the camera I recommend. I started off with it. I happen to be using one right now as I shoot this video. This camera is great. It's nice. It takes really good photos. Let's see if I can put some photos overlaying this video. I recommend this camera if you're beginning. Just make sure to take care of it. Remember, the screen flips out. Remember, this is mid-level, entry-level DSLR. If you want to go ahead and go for the 5200, 5300, those are really nice. Those have way more features than these cameras have. And if you want to go for a D5000, that's a no-go. I've already saw it. I've already seen it. The camera does not offer the features that you would get out of the 5100 up to the 5300, and I believe the 5400 should be coming out later on in this year. Later on in this year, next year. I'm not sure, but that's just speculating rumors. So as for anything else, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions below about this camera, go ahead and message me. Some of the features this thing can support is you can go ahead and support a battery grip. It can be hooked up via HDMI, use external audio, which is the microphone up there. To go ahead and wrap things up, if you're going to be starting off with this lens, make sure you go ahead and upgrade to something better than this lens, because this lens is very entry level and it does not produce the results you would get out of an ED lens like this video you're watching it on right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is all from me, and this is Greg from Legacy Productions, and see you later.